This isn't about hate. This isn't about ego. This is about self-respect. Too many men stay too long. They ignore the signs. They keep hoping things will change, but they don't. So in this video, I'll show you 4 clear signs it's time to walk away for good. Before we start, the Stoic Tribe team is currently working on the Stoic Relationship Blueprint for Men course that's coming very soon. This is a complete step-by-step system that rebuilds your mindset, sharpens your discipline, and teaches you exactly how to operate with control, clarity, and self-respect in every relationship. It transforms the way you think, act, and respond, so you stop chasing, stop overthinking, and start leading your life with certainty and power. If you want early access, comment the blueprint right now, because once this drops, everything changes. Number 1, she disrespects you, not once, not by mistake, consistently, and you know it, because it's not just one moment you can brush off or explain away. It's a pattern that repeats itself in different forms, different days, different situations, and every time you try to rationalize it, every time you tell yourself she didn't mean it, every time you lower your standards just a little bit to keep the peace, you are silently training her on how to treat you. Because right now she speaks to you in a tone she would never use with someone she truly respects. She ignores things that matter to you like they are optional. She dismisses your opinions as if they carry no weight. And you sit there trying to stay calm, trying to be understanding, trying to be the bigger person. But what you're actually doing is abandoning yourself in real time. And deep down you know this because something inside you tightens every time she crosses the line again. Something inside you says, this isn't right, but you override it because you don't want to lose her. And that right there is the trap. Because the moment you fear losing her more than you fear losing your self-respect is the moment she stops seeing you as someone she has to value and starts seeing you as someone she can manage. And once she reaches that point, she no longer filters what she says. She no longer cares how it lands. She no longer thinks twice before disrespecting you, because in her mind you've already shown her that you will stay, that you will tolerate, that you will adjust. And that is why the disrespect escalates, not because she suddenly changed, but because she revealed what she was always willing to do once she realized there are no consequences. And now look at your position. You are analyzing her tone, replaying conversations in your head, wondering if you're overreacting, questioning your own standards. And this is exactly how a man loses control of his reality, not in one big moment, but in small, repeated compromises that slowly erode his sense of self. And the truth you don't want to face is this: she knows exactly what she's doing. She sees how you respond. She watches how far she can go, and every time you let something slide, every time you stay silent when you should speak, every time you accept behavior that goes against your values, you are giving her permission to go further. And this is where you need to shift your mindset completely, because respect is not something you negotiate. It is something you enforce through your actions, not your words, not your explanations, not your emotional reactions, but your willingness to walk away the moment your boundaries are crossed. And right now you're stuck trying to communicate your way into being respected by someone who has already decided how she sees you. And no amount of explaining will fix that, because respect is not built on what you say, it is built on what you tolerate. And if you tolerate disrespect, you become the type of man who gets disrespected. It's that simple. And this is where discipline comes in, not emotional discipline where you suppress what you're experiencing, but behavioral discipline where you act in alignment with your standards, regardless of how uncomfortable it is. Because the uncomfortable truth is this: walking away will cost you her, but staying will cost you yourself. And one of those losses is permanent. And if you stay in a situation where you are constantly being disrespected, you start to normalize it. You start to adapt to it. You start to shrink parts of yourself just to avoid conflict. And over time, you don't even recognize the man you've become, because you've traded your backbone for temporary comfort, and that's a price too high to pay. And this is where you apply control, not over her, because you don't control her behavior, but over yourself, over your reactions, over your decisions, over what you allow into your life, because the moment you decide that disrespect is no longer something you negotiate with, everything changes. Your energy changes, your posture changes, the way you speak changes, because now you're not trying to keep her. You're deciding if she deserves to stay, and that shift alone puts you back in control. And here's what most people won't tell you when you start enforcing boundaries without emotion, without anger, without long explanations, just calm, direct action. It shocks her because she's used to you tolerating, she's used to you adjusting, she's used to you staying no matter what. But now you're different. Now you're not reacting emotionally, you're responding with clarity. And if she disrespects you, you don't argue, you don't plead, you don't try to fix it. You remove yourself immediately, consistently, without hesitation. And that consistency is what builds your value, not in her eyes first, but in your own. And once you rebuild that internal standard, you stop accepting behavior that doesn't align with it, not just from her, but from anyone. And this is how you transform your situation, not by changing her, but by changing what you allow. Because a woman who truly respects you does not need to be convinced to treat you right. She does it naturally, and if she doesn't, then she is showing you exactly where you stand. And your job is not to argue with that reality. Your job is to accept it and act accordingly. And the moment you do that, the moment you stop negotiating your worth, the moment you stop tolerating what drains you, the moment you choose yourself over the comfort of staying, that is when everything shifts, because now you are no longer reacting to her behavior. You are leading your life with standards, and that is the difference between a man who gets disrespected and a man who walks away the second it happens. And once you reach that point, you don't just gain respect from others, you gain something far more important. You gain control over your life, your decisions, your direction, and no one can take that from you again. And if you're ready to lock this mindset in permanently and stop ever slipping back into old patterns, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is exactly what you need, because it's packed with timeless principles that reshape how you think, how you act, and how you carry yourself in every situation, starting immediately. It answers the questions you've been stuck on: why you tolerate disrespect, why you overextend, and how to finally build unshakable self-respect without confusion. And now it's available in audiobook form, so you can absorb this knowledge while walking, training, or moving through your day, turning your time into growth instead of distraction. This is a permanent shift in how you operate, something you can return to anytime you need to realign and stay grounded. It's linked in the comments, and once you have it, it's yours for life. Meaning this level of clarity, discipline, and control is always within your reach whenever you need it. Number 2, she only comes back. When it's convenient, she disappears. No texts, no calls, no effort. And just when you start rebuilding your focus, just when your mind begins to settle and your routine starts to stabilize, she reappears out of nowhere with a casual message that acts like nothing ever happened. No explanation, no accountability, no respect for your time, just a soft entry back into your space, as if your attention has been sitting there waiting for her return. And if you're honest with yourself, you've seen this cycle more than once. You've lived through the silence, the confusion, the sudden reappearance, and every time she comes back, you want to believe that this time is different, that maybe she realized your value, that maybe she finally understands what she has. But the reality is far less flattering, because she is not coming back for connection. She is coming back for access. access to your attention, your energy, your validation. And the moment she gets it, the moment you respond quickly, the moment you open that door again, the cycle resets and you find yourself right back where you started, questioning, waiting, adjusting your life around someone who treats you like an option instead of a priority. And this is where most men lose themselves, because they confuse her return with interest. They confuse her message with intention. They confuse her presence with value, when in reality she is operating on convenience. She reaches out when she is bored, when other options fall through, when she needs reassurance that she still has influence over you. And you know this because her effort is inconsistent. Her communication is shallow, and her presence disappears just as quickly as it returns. And instead of seeing this clearly, you try to make sense of it. You tell yourself she's busy. You tell yourself she has things going on. You tell yourself to be patient. But what you're really doing is ignoring the obvious pattern in front of you. And the longer you ignore it, the more you train yourself to accept crumbs instead of consistency. And this is where discipline becomes your weapon, not emotional reactions, not long messages asking for clarity, not trying to decode her behavior, but the ability to step back and observe what is actually happening without letting your desire override your judgment. Because when you look at it clearly, the pattern speaks for itself. She invests when it suits her. She disappears when it doesn't. And she expects you to be available every time she returns. And the truth is, she continues this behavior because it works. Because every time she comes back, you respond. Every time she tests access, you give it. Every time she checks if you're still there, you confirm it. And that is why nothing changes. Because from her perspective, there is no reason to change. She gets the benefits without the responsibility. She gets your attention without consistency. She gets your time without commitment, and you allow it because part of you is still hoping she will become something she has never shown you. She is willing to be, and that hope is what keeps you stuck. That hope is what keeps you opening the door again and again, even when you know exactly how it ends. And this is where you need to cut through the illusion and face the truth directly. She is showing you her priorities through her actions, not her words, not her excuses, not her occasional attention, but her consistent pattern of disappearing and returning when it benefits her. And once you accept that, the solution becomes simple but not easy. You stop participating in the cycle. You stop rewarding inconsistent behavior with your attention. You stop responding instantly when she reappears, and more importantly, you stop making yourself available to someone who treats your presence like something they can pick up and drop whenever they choose. Because the moment you remove your availability, the moment you stop being predictable, the moment you no longer respond on her timing, you break the pattern. And this is where control shifts back to you, not because you are trying to manipulate the situation, but because you are finally acting in alignment with your own standards. And here is the mindset shift that changes everything. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are evaluating if she deserves access to you. And when you operate from that position, her inconsistent behavior no longer confuses you. It disqualifies her, and that clarity gives you power. Because now you are no longer reacting to her reappearances. You are observing them and deciding accordingly, and if she reaches out after disappearing, you don't reward it with immediate attention. You don't drop everything to respond. You maintain your focus, your schedule, your priorities, because your life does not pause for someone who treats you like a backup option, and if she cannot meet you with consistency, then she does not get access, simple as that. And this is where you apply internal control. You regulate your impulses. You resist the urge to respond out of excitement or curiosity. You stay grounded in your standards, and you let your actions communicate what you will and will not accept. And over time, this builds a level of self-respect that cannot be shaken, because you are no longer dependent on her presence to feel complete. You are no longer waiting for her to show up so you can feel validated. You are focused on your own growth, your own purpose, your own direction. And that is what separates you from the version of yourself that used to wait, because now you understand that consistency is the baseline, not a bonus. And anyone who cannot meet that baseline does not get to stay in your life, no matter how attractive they are, no matter how strong the connection once was, no matter how convincing their words may sound when they return, because you are no longer listening to words, you are watching patterns, and patterns do not lie. And once you fully accept this, once you fully internalize that, her convenience is not your responsibility, you stop entertaining it completely. And that is when your life starts to shift, because now your time is no longer being drained by inconsistency. Your focus is no longer being broken by unpredictable communication. Your energy is no longer tied to someone who shows up only when it benefits her, and instead, you redirect all of that into building yourself, strengthening your discipline, sharpening your mindset, and creating a life where you are not waiting for someone to choose you, because you have already chosen yourself. And that is the position that changes everything. Because when you operate from that level of clarity and control, you become someone who cannot be used for convenience, someone who cannot be kept as a backup option, someone who does not entertain half-effort connections. And once you reach that point, you don't just remove her from the cycle, you remove the entire pattern from your life, permanently. Number 3, she drains your energy. Pay attention to how you feel after talking to her, not during, after, because in the moment you can get caught up in the interaction, the tone, the small bits of attention she gives you, the temporary sense that things are okay. But the truth always reveals itself once the conversation ends and you're left alone with your thoughts. And that's when it hits you. That subtle heaviness, that mental fatigue, that constant replay of what was said and what wasn't said, that quiet tension sitting in your chest while you try to make sense of it all. And this is not random. This is not something you should ignore. This is your internal signal telling you that something is off, because a healthy connection does not leave you drained. It does not leave you questioning yourself. It does not leave you mentally exhausted after every interaction. Yet here you are going through the same cycle again and again, trying to stay composed while she brings inconsistency, mixed signals, and unnecessary complications into your life. And the problem is not just what she does, it's how long you've been tolerating it, because over time you've adapted to this pattern. You've normalized the stress. You've convinced yourself that this is just how things are, and in doing so, you've lowered your baseline for what you accept. And now you're operating in a constant state of mental tension, where you're always analyzing, always adjusting, always trying to keep things balanced, while she continues to disrupt that balance without consequence. And the reality you need to face is this: she is not confused, she is not unaware, she is simply not invested enough to bring you peace. And instead of accepting that, you keep trying to fix it. You keep trying to manage the situation. You keep trying to say the right thing, do the right thing, respond the right way, hoping that somehow it will stabilize, but it never does. Because you cannot create stability with someone who thrives on inconsistency. And this is where you need to take full control of your focus. Because right now your mental energy is being pulled in her direction constantly, even when she's not around, even when she's not texting, even when she's completely absent. She still occupies space in your mind, and that is the real cost, not just the conversations, but the time you spend thinking about them, the energy you spend analyzing them, the attention you give to something that does not give you clarity in return. And this is exactly how you lose momentum in your own life. Because while you are stuck in your head trying to figure her out, your goals are being delayed, your progress is slowing down, your discipline is weakening, and all of this happens quietly, without you even realizing the extent of it, until you step back and see how much time and energy has been wasted on something that never gave you stability to begin with. And this is where you shift your approach completely. You stop trying to fix the dynamic and you start observing it for what it is. You remove emotion from the equation and you look at the facts. Every interaction leaves you drained. Every conversation creates more questions than answers. Every moment of connection is followed by confusion. And once you see that pattern clearly, the decision becomes obvious, because you are not here to manage chaos. You are here to build a life that operates with clarity and control. And anything that consistently disrupts, that has no place in your space, no matter how strong the initial attraction was, no matter how much potential you thought it had, because potential means nothing without consistency, and consistency is what creates peace. And peace is what allows you to operate at your highest level, and right now she is pulling you away from that. And you know it. You've felt it in your routine, you've seen it in your focus, you've experienced it in the way your mind keeps going back to her even when you're trying to move forward. And this is where discipline becomes non-negotiable, not in controlling her behavior, but in controlling your response to it. You stop engaging in conversations that drain you. You stop entertaining interactions that leave you confused. You stop giving your time to someone who consistently takes more than they give. And instead you redirect that energy back into yourself, into your work, your goals, your physical discipline, your mental clarity. Because the more you invest in yourself, the less tolerance you have for anything that disrupts your progress. And this is how you break free from the cycle, not by confronting her, not by trying to get closure, not by explaining how her behavior affects you, but by quietly stepping back and removing your attention completely, because attention is what fuels the dynamic. And once you remove it, the dynamic collapses. And this is where you regain control over your internal state, because now your mind is no longer occupied by her inconsistency. Now your energy is no longer drained by unnecessary tension. Now your focus is fully aligned with your own direction. And that is where real power comes from, not from trying to manage someone else's behavior, but from mastering your own. And when you reach that point, when you are no longer affected by her presence or absence, when your mood is no longer tied to her responses, when your day is no longer influenced by her communication, you become stable in a way that cannot be shaken. And that stability changes everything, because now you are not reacting, you are leading, you are not adjusting, you are deciding. And anyone who enters your life either aligns with that stability or gets removed from it immediately, without hesitation. And once you operate from that level, you don't just eliminate what drains you, you elevate everything around you, because your time is now protected, your energy is now directed, and your life is no longer influenced by someone who brings confusion instead of clarity. And that is the shift that transforms your situation completely, because you are no longer trying to make something work that was never built to last. You are building yourself into someone who does not tolerate anything that pulls him away from his purpose. And once you lock into that mindset, everything else becomes simple, because you no longer need to question whether to stay or leave. The answer becomes clear the moment your peace is disturbed, and you act on it without hesitation every single time. Number 4. She makes you chase her. You're always the one texting first, always the one making plans, always the one trying to keep things alive. And the more you look at it honestly, the clearer it becomes that this is not a one-time imbalance. This is the structure of the entire connection. You initiate, you follow up, you carry conversations, you adjust your time, you move things around just to make it work, while she responds when she wants, engages when it suits her, and disappears the moment it requires effort. And somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself that this is normal, that this is just how things are in the early stages, that maybe she just needs more time. But deep down, you know the truth, because when someone genuinely values your presence, you don't have to carry everything on your own. The effort meets you halfway without you forcing it, without you calculating your next move, without you wondering if you're doing too much or too little. And right now you are stuck in a loop where your attention is being spent in one direction while hers is scattered and inconsistent. And that imbalance is what drains your confidence. Because every time you reach out and get a dry response, every time you plan something and she cancels or delays, every time you invest and receive the bare minimum in return, you are reinforcing a dynamic where you are the one chasing and she is the one deciding how much access you get. And this is where most men get it completely wrong. They think chasing shows interest. They think effort will win her over. They think persistence will eventually make her see their value. But what actually happens is the opposite. The more you chase, the more she pulls back. The more you invest, the less she values it. Because when something is always available, always reaching out, always trying to prove itself, it loses its weight, it loses its scarcity, it loses the very thing that creates attraction, which is the sense that it can walk away at any moment. And right now you are not operating from that position. You are operating from a position of seeking, of trying to secure something that is not being given freely. And that is why the dynamic continues, because she is not required to invest. She is not required to meet your level of effort. She is simply responding to what you allow. And what you allow is a one-sided connection where your time, your attention, and your energy are given without equal return. And the longer you stay in that position, the more it shapes how she sees you. Not as someone she has to earn, but as someone who is already locked in, already available, already predictable. And predictability at that level removes all tension, it removes all curiosity, it removes the very thing that makes someone invest. And this is where you need to completely reset your approach, not by playing games, not by trying to manipulate the situation, but by stepping out of the chasing role entirely, because chasing is a losing position no matter how you frame it. It puts you in a constant state of seeking approval, seeking attention, seeking confirmation that you matter. And that is not where you build strength. That is where you lose it. So the shift starts with awareness. You recognize the pattern without trying to justify it. You acknowledge that you are the one carrying the interaction. And once you see that clearly, you stop participating in it. You stop initiating constantly. You stop overextending. You stop trying to fill the silence. And instead, you pull your attention back and redirect it into your own life, your own priorities, your own growth. Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment you regain control over your time and your energy. And here is where discipline comes in, because your instinct will push you to reach out. Your mind will try to convince you to send that message, to check in, to keep things going. But you override that impulse with control. You stay grounded, you stay focused, you let the silence exist without rushing to fill it. And in that space, something important happens. You begin to detach from the outcome. You begin to see the situation for what it is instead of what you want it to be. And that clarity allows you to make better decisions, because now you are not reacting to her lack of effort. You are observing it and adjusting your behavior accordingly. And if she does not step up, if she does not meet you halfway, if she does not bring consistent effort into the connection, then the answer is already in front of you. She is not as invested as you are, and no amount of chasing will change that. So instead of trying to force something that is not there, you remove yourself from the equation completely. You stop giving attention where it is not reciprocated. You stop making yourself available to someone who does not value your time, and you move forward with your life without looking back. Because the real power is not in getting her to respond. It is in no longer needing her response at all. And once you reach that point, everything changes. Because now you are no longer tied to her actions. Your mindset is no longer influenced by her replies. Your focus is no longer broken by her inconsistency. And that independence is what builds real confidence. Not the kind that depends on validation, but the kind that comes from knowing you are in control of your own direction. And from that position you start to attract differently. You start to operate differently. because you are no longer chasing. You are selecting. You are deciding who deserves your time based on their actions, not their words. And anyone who does not meet that standard simply does not get access. And this is how you transform your situation completely, not by trying to win her over, but by removing yourself from a dynamic that was never balanced to begin with. And once you internalize this, once you fully accept that chasing is a signal of imbalance, you stop doing it permanently, and in doing so, you elevate your entire life, because now your time is spent on things that actually move you forward. Your energy is invested in growth, discipline, and purpose. And your attention is no longer wasted on someone who required you to chase just to stay relevant. And that is the shift that changes everything, because you are no longer trying to be chosen, you have already chosen yourself. And that decision puts you in a position where you cannot be ignored, cannot be used, and cannot be taken for granted ever again. Everything you've heard today comes down to one brutal truth. No one is coming to save you, and the longer you ignore these patterns, the more of your life you quietly give away to people who never earned it. Society benefits from you staying confused, chasing, and second-guessing yourself, because a man who truly understands his value becomes impossible to control. If you're ready to break that cycle, comment, "I choose discipline" right now, like this video, and subscribe so more men wake up before they waste years they can never get back. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is built for this exact moment, filled with timeless principles that will transform how you think, act, and live immediately. And now it's available in audiobook form so you can absorb it while walking, training, or moving through your day. It's linked in the comments, and once you have it, it's yours for life. So the only question left is how much longer you're willing to stay the same.